Hello everybody, Eli here from Nintendo Enthusiast. This week here for the newest episode of The Pitch. First of all, I want to talk about NPD numbers that came out before moving into any questions, because they're kind of important. From this NPD report, we learned two very valuable things. Number one, the Wii U sales-wise, it's not great. And we don't know whether Nintendo is even going to hit its sales figure of 3.5 million units sold for the fiscal year. However, what we did also learn is that those that did buy the Wii U are willing to buy software. Same thing with 3DS. We learned that Nintendo's software continues to sell well. They're making money off the software, and although the hardware is not moving units off shelves, they're still making money from the games sold. This is evidenced by several things. Number one, we'll talk about the US first. We know that the 3DS console sales increased 40% compared to November 2013. Now, a lot of people are going to say this is really positive, but I think it's more associated with the release of Pokemon. Last year, if you guys remember, Pokemon X and Y came out in October, not November. This year, Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby, I'm sorry, came out in November, not October. So I think that the 3DS sales sold more in November because of Pokemon. The Wii U specifically, though, Wii U console sales increased 10% over last year. We're expecting that puts it in the ballpark of about 200,000 to 225,000 units sold, which for a month isn't great. If this is the best month that Nintendo has for the year, or I believe, for the year, then you take that, multiply it by 12, and they're not at their sales figure that they're looking for. Now, I think the number's kind of fishy. We don't know whether this just during Black Friday week or whether it's for the whole month itself. But either way, when you've got the PS4 and Xbox One selling more than 1 million units, these sales that the Wii U's getting, it's not too great. And it's really unfortunate because Wii U software sales were up more than 90%. So obviously Smash was moving units. In fact, Super Smash Bros. Came in 3rd place in the NPD. So as a game that came out only on one system, it beat out several other games on different systems, which is really impressive. And it did very well, made a lot of money for Nintendo. It's probably going to continue selling, as most Nintendo games do. And Amiibos also sold very well. It was almost to a 1-to-1 ratio, Nintendo said, so about 700,000 units for Amiibo as well. But it just didn't move hardware off shelves as much as we all anticipated it would. And Pokemon did really well too, considering that they didn't combine Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. You know, Omega Ruby took 7th place. Alpha Sapphire took 5th place. So therefore, Nintendo had 3 games in the top 10 NPD, and all 3 were not multi-platform games. So their software is selling really, really well. Hardware may not be doing so well. 3DS is doing okay. Wii U is not doing where it should be. But in Japanese sales, we got similar numbers. Smash sold 225,000 units in its first week in Japan, which is pretty good, but the Wii U only sold 25,000 units. That's about 2 times more, a little more than 2 times more than the week before, but it's not a huge jump. It's not as big as we hoped it would be, and it's not going to save the Wii U in Japan by any means. It's not doing very well, and although once again, it's like the GameCube era. Nintendo's going to make money from the games because all the Wii U owners, hardcore Nintendo fans, they're going to go buy the games. But the consoles themselves are not going to make Nintendo money, which is rather unfortunate. So that's the analysis for the new data out of both Japan and the US. Moving on to questions. Pretty much, Cool Dude JTO9123ABC asks, what a wonderful username there. Do you think that the idea of the Wii U still being a last-gen console hinders its performance in terms of sales, or do you think that it's due to being cheaper that due to it being cheaper that the PS4 and Xbox One will actually benefit? I consider the Wii U to be the same generation, etc. Honestly, I consider it to be the same generation. I don't think it hinders sales. When the Wii came out and it was actually much less powerful than the Xbox 360 and PS3, that didn't deter it. People did not buy it because it was less powerful. I think there are 2 main reasons for the Wii U sales. Actually, several. Number one, the software for the first year. Although that doesn't seem to be affecting PS4 and Xbox One because their software isn't very good. I think the name is a big factor. When I went to go pick up Smash Brothers, I was waiting in the line at Best Buy and got a conversation with a woman, and she's like, "Wow, I didn't even know Nintendo is still releasing games for the Wii." And that's the thing. She didn't even know about the Wii U. The Wii U came out several years ago. She was there to pick up a PS4. She didn't even know about this Wii U. So I think that it's very significant because had Nintendo even called it the Wii 2, it would have helped out their perception. But in total, I think they should have had a different name. The name Wii, it kind of just, the first thing people think of, and maybe not the first thing we think of, but when they hear Wii, they hear of Wii Tennis. They think of these games. Had they named it something like, sometimes I even think they should have called it Project Cafe. You know, sure, people might have thought it was an espresso, but at least they wouldn't have thought it was for Wii Tennis that they own already at their home. I feel like they should have done better job marketing it as sort of a machine that isn't just for Wii Sports, isn't just for these family games. And Nintendo wasn't doing a job the first year when they were trying. I mean, their whole first introductory commercial had Wii Sports as central, Wii U Sports as their central marketing material. I think that the performance, the fact that the Wii U has 2 GB of RAM versus 8 gigs for the PS4, I don't think that's relevant at all. Had they actually done a better job marketing it as its own console, not just a spin-off of the Wii, it would have done better. So I don't think very many people actually think of it as last gen. And Ian H asks, do you think that if Nintendo let you rent games from older systems like PS Now, would it work? This is a good question. I think that Nintendo should um, do a prescription service, not necessarily a rental service where I pay per game. I think what Nintendo should do is you pay $5 a month and you get access to their whole Virtual Console library. I think a lot of people don't actually buy Virtual Console games. I mean, for me, the only 2 Virtual Console games I have on my Wii U, I mean, other than the 5 that were 30 cents a piece because, it's 30 cents a piece, I bought Earthbound because there's no other way to play it, and I bought Link to the Past because I had actually never played through it before. So those are the 2 games I bought. I don't think there's a serious amount of people who are going to be like, yes, I'm going to pay $5 for an NES game because it's not worth $5. I have 5 versions of Balloon Fight. Why would I pay $5 for another one? Although I bought the Wii U version for 30 cents. Honestly, I don't think the Virtual Console is effective in getting a mass amount of people to pay for it. However, if they did a $5 prescription service, I wouldn't even think about it. If I only had to pay $5 a month to have access to their whole Virtual Console library, I probably wouldn't even play these Virtual Console games because I'm too busy with new games. Yet Nintendo would be getting my money. So I think it's a very smart business decision had they charged, say, $5 a month to the access to the whole Virtual Console catalog. A lot of people would pay it because it's so cheap, and maybe they wouldn't even play the games, which, because they'd be playing their new games. And so that's what I think. I don't think a PlayStation Now service is good because paying $3 for 4 hours is not a good business model. Nobody pays for that. But if you were to pay $5 a month, like a real subscription service and not just a rental service, I think it would be a good idea. And lastly, Colin Taylor asks, with this less than stellar sales of Bayonetta 2, do you think that Nintendo should continue to buy out or create more M-rated exclusive as a way to shed their kiddie image and hopefully attract more gamers, or is family-friendly too twined? As I said before in previous episodes, I think Nintendo can, by building up a repertoire of rated M games, try to shed its kiddie image. You got Devil's Third, you got Bayonetta 2, you got Zombie U, but they've got to come out with more regularity. One game every 2 years, one game every year, it's not going to help them out. They need to have more, not just exclusives. I think they should be chasing multi-platform games. But if they're gonna go with that, they need to be chasing down more exclusives and coming out with more regularity. One mature game a year is not going to help them shed their kiddie image when the other 5 are rated E titles. And that's not that I don't have a problem with rated E titles. I love Mario and it's always rated E. That's not the problem. It's more like shedding their kiddie image, what other people think about it. It's not about it's really sad, but sales now don't amount to how good a game is. It's more like how it's more about the image of the game. Think about Call of Duty, for example. Everyone hates Call of Duty. not everyone, but right now the sales are on huge decline. Sales are down 33% from last year. And Advanced Warfare was supposed to be the quote best game in years, best Call of Duty game in years, and it sold badly. Take another game, lots of indie games. Shovel Knight sold 300,000 units, but the game is so good it should have sold more. I don't. Assassin's Creed continues to do really well, even though the game's not all that great. Overall, it's not so much about how reviews don't play as big of a role as marketing does. And so ultimately, if Nintendo was to have a large breadth of rated M titles and market them effectively, I think it would work. But I think it's almost too late for that because they're only releasing one every 1 to 2 years. Thanks everyone for watching. That's the end of this week's episode of The Pitch. I'd love to hear your opinions on the show in the comments below. Make sure to leave any questions in the comments below as well. I'm sorry if I'm stressing out a little bit. My Yale decision comes out in 2 days, and I'm super stressed out about that. And make sure to visit NintendoEnthusiast.com for all the latest news, reviews, etc. concerning Nintendo. Have a great day, everyone, and keep on gaming.